The records are now open, and it's been a while. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Akashic Answers with Emily. We are trying out a little new technology today on StreamYard. We've got StreamYard VIP going today, basically. We've got the StreamYard Pro up and running. So I want to make sure we are broadcasting on multiple locations, multiple channels. So far, so good. Say hello once you get here and help me by sharing this out. Actually, I don't have to share it out now because it's going out to all of my channels. But I will ask, share this out with people that you love. Oops. Hang on, let me turn myself down here on my phone. The more mind, souls, hearts we have coming together, learning today, joining this conversation, receiving intelligence, whether the intelligence that comes in for you is the same as how it comes in for me or not. The place where we need to be in our human evolution is showing up and thinking differently, allowing ourselves to soften our rigid thinking. Hello, Donna Lewis, and begin to look at life through a what if scenario, because we have got to find solutions. It's the only way to find solutions to what we're experiencing as a collective right now, which is the result of slavery, basically. It's the result of where our thoughts have been hijacked, and we are learning to think for ourselves. We are learning to hold ourselves in high accountability around self-leadership. And our consciousness is expanding incredibly quickly, which is helping us do that. The expansion of our consciousness allows us to see from different perspectives. I was actually just sharing with one of my Akashic Elite clients, special names for the different programs, right? But the Akashic Elite is actually a 6-figure year-long program with me, a very, very deep dive. And we've been discussing just that power of perspective, how when your perspective shifts, it opens up everything. And the mental enslavery that we've all been under in terms of how we've been taught to think, what's appropriate for us to think, is very important to examine, because in this particular reality we are in, everything is created from thought. So tracing our growth and our expansion back to the thoughts that we're thinking is so, so important. If this is the first time you're here, please let me know that you're a first timer, and allow me to introduce myself. I'm Emily Harrison, founder, director of the Akashic Academy. My area of expertise is in the Akashic Records, and I work with visionaries and thought leaders who are here to change the planet, and the evolution of their consciousness is of the utmost importance. So I teach them how to shift their consciousness to align with universal intelligence, with God mind, with the Akashic Records, so that they can instantly download intelligence. I work with people who need radical access to ingenuity and to creativity. And so we do it through the quantum, which is absolutely an incredible job that I made up for myself. Many of you are like me, whether your area of expertise is in the Akashic Records or in Wooville, as I say. What I say you're like me is that you're here to change the planet. You're here to use your own genius, your creativity, your wisdom, and create new ways for our society to flourish. We need new paradigms for relationships, for money, for how we govern and self-govern. There's room for everybody's genius, and it's needed right now on the planet. So welcome. If you are new, let me just share the Akashic Records so we can all have a foundational jumping off point here together. The Akashic Records are the realm of consciousness where all information, past, present, all possible futures exists. And every human on the planet has the ability to shift their consciousness, again, to align with the vibrational frequency of God mind. So in essence, your thoughts are coming from universal mind. They're no longer being thought within the framework of your 3D reality. They are being thought from this higher access point of God mind. Greetings, Drew Stevens. That was a little harder to say than I knew it was going to be before I started. First timer, so glad you're here and on your journey. Yes. We've got Evelyn in the house too. Donna Lewis, hello, I see you. Please say hello once you get here. And here's how today is going to work. I'm going to encourage all of you to ask questions. Type questions in the chat. Whether I get to your questions today or not, honestly, doesn't even matter, because it's like you're asking the universe, your higher intelligence, the questions anyway. And the posing of the question is what begins to invite the intelligence forward. The posing of the question is what creates a feedback loop with the universe of what it is that we want to experience. Welcome, Elizabeth, another first timer in the house. It's always fun. So even if I don't get to your question live on the air today, if I don't get to your question when I circle back and check in with the comments, it's okay. You are going to get answers. And I encourage you to pay attention. Be on the lookout for how the universe will show up and answer your questions. So get those questions typed in. Get them typed. You get typing them in. Questions don't type themselves, people. That's what I really meant to say. I think my mom just made an entrance. My mom may come in too, by the way. If anybody sees a Jan Harrison in the house, that's Mama. Joanne Jones in the house, first timer. Hi, Joanne. You're very loved. Awesome. Sherry's in the house. Hello, Sherry. Alexander, I see you. Lindsay Jordan and Rich. Right on. A couple of Miss Lindsay's my cousin, and Mr. Rich is a dear friend of mine from my past life incarnation as a Hollywood actress. So good to share the space with you all. All right, so here's how it's going to work. Type the questions in. Whether I answer the question or not, the universe is going to answer the question for you. It's the beautiful nature and the magic of this space that we create together. I also want to say, for the questions that I do address on the air, I ask Spirit to, I'm holding this like it's Sex in the City. Hang on, let me take a sip of my tea. All right. I ask Spirit to bring my awareness to the questions live on the air that will benefit the most people here, okay? And what happens is, as I tap into the questions and the answers begin to come through, you may find that something I'm sharing or that I'm channeling through resonates with you and you didn't ask the question. If that happens, fantastic. It's your guides getting you information. The answer is for you, even if it's not addressed to you. Make sense? Okay. Let's see if there's anything else I want you guys to know about questions. Ask open-ended questions. I mean, you can ask whatever questions you want, but the questions that will bring through the most wisdom and insight from this space are open-ended questions, questions that two ears and one mouth. That's always good. Listen more than you talk. So interesting as you're running a live show like this, Nicole, because I'm listening to the guys and talking to you all at the same time, and sometimes I say stupid shit and it looks funny. I would be willing to bet that at least half of my regular audience that tunes in because there's entertainment. There's entertainment that happens in this space too. Okay, so let's dive in. Open-ended questions, ask questions that that assume responsibility for what it is that you created. Ask questions like, what can I learn about XYZ situation, a challenging situation that you're in? And we're going to rock and roll. All right, Pete's in the house. What's up, Pete? I see you. Elizabeth, nice. First timers, thank you for being here. All right, let's get some questions on. Let's see. Hello, lovely. My sister is with me now. She heard you speaking about creativity and she feels stuck. Anything for her, please. Her name is, okay, let me try pronouncing well on the air live. Lamie? Well, when I say it inside of my head, it's Lamie is very beautiful. And if I'm not saying it correctly, please forgive me. But yes, tapping in now for Lamie. And we want to tap in around creativity. All right, so the first thing the guides are saying is she's holding her breath often. All right. Oh, and this is a good one. I got to write down what we talk about here. Holding breath. Okay. Anytime energy feels stuck for anybody out here, recognize that the breath is a tool that you can use to unstick energy in any part of your life. Okay. The guides are saying they want to talk about financial stress, first of all. And they want me to share with you all a story of when I was learning how to break out of financial stress. And then we'll talk about creativity too. You get financial creativity. Okay. So breaking out of situations where we feel stuck, there are a lot of components that Spirit and the guides are talking about right now that we need to address. One is a physical component, and that is the tenseness of the body and how we hold our breath. Okay. For me personally, as a human on the journey, I would say my biggest life lessons they have been in areas of financial freedom for me. They've been in areas of like courage and vision and being really bold in how I show up and create. And then taking on too much in relationships, that comes down to self-worth and allowing ourselves to be cared for. So those have been some of like the big karmic issues that I've dealt with in this lifetime. So I want to take you back to the financial part of my life where I was breaking out of financial lack and limitation. And it's going to look different for everybody, but here's where it's the same. And we must learn to source and resource from within. Okay? That means that we have to trust, believe, we have to know that we're worth it, and whatever story however we're telling ourselves the story of our own experience has to be congruent with what we want to receive financially. Otherwise, we won't be able to receive it. So for me, it looked like relaxing my body and recognizing where my body was actually too tense to hold any amount of wealth or prosperity. I could make money and it would come into my field, but it wouldn't stay in my field. It would go out in some form or fashion. And there was a very direct connection with how tense my body was all the time, how much I held my breath when I thought about money or finances. So I had to learn to breathe. Okay. I also had to learn to source and resource from within, which has mostly to do with the story we tell ourselves about what we're worth, right? For me, learning to source and resource from within had to do with me understanding a storyline about myself, because I worked in Hollywood and I would do movies and TV shows and commercials and things, and I would get paid continually, get paid residual money for doing these jobs. And this began to become part of my story of how I sourced and resourced money. Meaning, I knew that it wasn't out of the realm of damn possibility that a $10,000 residual check was going to show up in my mailboxes at some random point in time when I wasn't expecting it, because that's how the industry works, right? So what I began to do with a lot of regularity that really helped me learn to trust the universe, let me learn to relax and say, hey, I've done the work. I don't have to stress about this. I'm taken care of. Is that when I would start to feel that financial stress coming on, I would take a walk and I would breathe. And I would just really focus on my breath and moving the energy through my physical body. I would change my mental story about my finances. Emotionally, I would allow myself to feel that I was worth it. And I would be able to draw that check or source that resource that check from the feedback loop I was creating with the universe on the quantum level that allowed that to show up in my field. But the breath was huge. It's huge. We can have the aha moments in our mind. You can know these law of attraction tricks or manifestation tricks. I mean, there are all sorts of them along the way that I've learned and picked up. I'm sure many of you have got your manifestation tool and trick that you really, really love. But if you're not breathing and you're not relaxed and moving the energy through your physical body in a way that feels good, you're going to push away the money, you're going to push away the relationship, you're going to push away the opportunity. Okay? Now let's get into that area of creativity. Okay? All right, I feel Lamie, the guides, again, not even a clue if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Some of you guys might be laughing your asses off out there. Hope she doesn't try to pronounce my name on the air. Okay, so back to my dear friend Lamie and the creativity. The guides are saying specifically for you, it feels like this part of the aura, like the crown part of your aura, feels really blocked. It feels like you're it's specifically an imbalance in the crown chakra, and the crown chakra is where we process our relationship with God. And it feels like it feels like there was anger and confusion at not understanding why a particular circumstance in your life played out. And then it feels like it was shut off. Anger and confusion was the first way that it showed up in your field, Lamie. It felt like anger and confusion over this circumstance. But you at least still had communication with God, even though you were angry and confused. But then it feels like it went into a shutdown. Let me know if this is resonating. And then tap in and see. Yeah, so the guides are saying let's use the breath, and let's breathe through the crown chakra. Okay, and I'm gonna the guides want me to use my hands as kind of like an opening and a closing. So I gotta duck down here a little bit so you can see my head and my hands in the shot. Okay, so we're all gonna breathe together. Let's open, exhale. And just imagine the crown chakra just opening. Almost maybe like a lotus on your head. This is ridiculous that I'm doing this with my hands. Obviously didn't practice this before we came on. Or I would have gotten a better posture to do it. Cool. I've never done lotus breathing though through the crown. Those of you who have been with me before, you know it's always going to be kind of new. This one's really new. All right, I'm going to sit up kind of straighter now so I can at least like relax into this breath a little bit more. Exhale, long and slow, activate the vagus nerve. Go one more deep breath in together. As we inhale, we're calling in Akashic energy into the mind, and then as we exhale, it's almost like as that portal was closing with the exhale, what I was experiencing was something that felt a little bit like a vacuum, and it was almost like pulling out the trauma, the painful memory, the things that have caused us to shut down and no longer explore a relationship with the divine. And by the way, the divine, God, it doesn't have to be the concept that of course, we didn't all know and grow up with the same thing at all. I was going to say that we all knew and grew up. We all grew up, knew and grew up with. Who we growed up with. I don't even know what I'm saying. Of course, we haven't all had the same concept of God, but if you grew up like me in a religion, I grew up really immersed in the Southern Baptist religion and church. We have a concept of God, or what we feel like this divine energy is. you don't have to necessarily explore the concept of God or source energy through that same old construct. You can explore it through nature. You can explore it through artistry. You can explore it just through kindness, how you show up with other human beings. All right, that was a really fun one. Let's dive in and get a couple more questions here. Who's got more questions coming in? Here's a good one. Evelyn, thank you. May I be guided into what area of teaching I am stepping into for the greatest good of humanity? 100%. And now I'm seeing like the purple energy coming through in your profile picture there, Evelyn. 100% you're a wisdom keeper. Here to share, I was going to say healing. Healing is a byproduct of what you do. I feel like you're here to share specifically around alchemy and compassion are the two things that are coming up. The alchemy really comes through in the Melchizedek, the energy of the magician. For you, Evelyn, Metatron, even Moses. Look at all these M's coming through for you. So that energy of the alchemy, Saint Germain. And please let me know if this resonates with you, and or if you would like any points in the right direction when it comes to finding out more about any of the lineages that I'm talking about. Because I'll be happy to point you in the right direction of how to tap into knowledge from that lineage of Melchizedek. And that's for any of you, by the way, who resonate. This is a great example of if you're noticing pings in your field as I'm talking about anything, know that that message is for you too. I work really closely with Melchizedek and the energy of the Great Mystery School. It makes sense, right? The Akashic Records are being here to help teach visionaries and thought leaders how to tap into this space of universal intelligence. It's the same space that Nikola Tesla, Steve Jobs, Albert Einstein all tapped into. So I work with this consciousness quite a bit. And if any of you are pinging out there, reach out to me and I can, like I said, connect you with some information that will help that information come alive in you, that memory. Okay? Because we all have memory and ancient memory from other aspects of the time-space continuum, whether you look at that as past life or a future life or parallel lives. And once you begin to remember skills and knowledge from these other points of the time-space reality, embodying your human potentiality or your destiny becomes a lot easier, right? Okay, so Evelyn, thank you. The alchemy was one. And then what was the second one that I said? Was it around compassion? Oh yeah, it was around compassion, the energy of Kuan Yin coming forward so strong with you. And I would love to know if these are guides that you've worked with before, Evelyn, if they've popped into your field before. So let's see. We've got Melchizedek. Let's do an activation for the Melchizedek energy. Let me get my wand for this one. We're going to use breath on all of our activations today. The energy of Melchizedek, Saint Germain, this is a purple energy, the violet flame energy. You might have heard, if you've heard any of these things, it's all kind of part of the same wing of Hogwarts, we'll just say. Okay, the violet flame is also known as Moses in the burning bush, the I am energy. And these tools like the violet flame that we're talking about, when we talk about alchemy, we're talking about changing a substance from a lower vibrational frequency, which can oftentimes be unstable, like taking something from an unstable form, a raw form, and moving it into a cultivated form or a more stable form of the energy. Okay, so we want to bring in a Melchizedek activation. The guides, they're focusing on the throat right now, and they want you to breathe with the throat chakra. So imagine spinning wheel, and I know throat is blue. Okay, specifically throat is cobalt blue. Third eye is indigo, and the purple energy is up here. We're going to switch it up a little bit. They want you breathing the purple energy through the throat chakra. So deep breath in. Exhale. Deep breath in. Exhaling. Remember, purple energy. We're working with the energy of Melchizedek, specifically in the throat chakra. This is one of our biggest manifestation points because of how we speak our truth. We use our voice to speak into existence that which we wish to experience. Deep breath in. That's why you want to be very mindful with your words. Or as the four agreements say, be impeccable to your word. Do not speak things that you do not wish to experience. This is where they're showing me an image right now of like immature wizards. Yes, humans, immature wizards. Our voice is one of the most powerful quantum tools to create, and we get angry and we feel very justified in misusing our voice. We misuse it against ourselves, we misuse it against others, and it's because we have not cultivated an understanding and a mastery of how powerful this center is. We use it like imbeciles. Yes, I attempted to call us imbeciles there, but I sort of stumbled over the word. You dumbass humans. That's what the guide they're saying. But just think about that. See if you can notice the part of yourself that feels very justified in speaking venom against yourself or against others. Yeah, Deb, I feel like they're going deep. I feel you. Deb says I needed to hear this. Yep, I did too. Whew. Good. Okay, now Kuan Yin wants to come in and work. She wants to work two areas, heart chakra and womb chakra. Okay, so I feel like she wants to move through this one rather quickly. Not a lot of explanation, just more breathing. So place one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly or the womb. I feel like she doesn't want me to explain much because this will have meaning to each one of you. Interpret your own symbolic meaning. Actually, see if you can just feel Kuan Yin coming in right now, whispering in your ear, bringing thoughts alive in your mind as you breathe, of how this particular activation in your Akashic Records, this breath with hand on heart, hand on belly, and Kuan Yin, how is this working for you? What's happening? What's shifting? Ooh, I feel the energy's in strong today. Thank you all for participating. Again, you're all having your own quiet conversation with Kuan Yin right now. And even if you're not exchanging words, there's an energetic exchange happening right now. Just be present with it. Trust it. And imagine all the pinpoints of light illuminating across the globe of everyone receiving this healing and this activation from Kuan Yin right now. Ooh, this is something big. This feels good. Thank you all. Okay. So I gotta take a couple notes. Otherwise, when I go to send out these replays, I have no idea what happened in the show. Because I'm in La La Land, people. I know what's happening right here in this moment, but when I come back to it later, I don't remember. Okay. Kuan Yin, yes. Kuan Yin activation. Heart and womb. Ooh, that was a big one. All right, let's dive in. Let's get another question. Let's go for some more. Sherry Haughn, is it for my highest good to start my adventure this month or am I rushing? Let's see here. Okay. Lots of guides are lining up to talk about this one. So I'm just gonna waiting for who all comes in the room here to talk with us about this. Why I feel so many guides coming in and so much attention on this question is because there's a need for discernment in our lives. We are growing in our consciousness to a point where, how do I say this? Sometimes our skills, our superpowers, we can misuse them, or we can self-sabotage. We'll sabotage ourselves with them. Okay, it's part of the young wizard syndrome of when we first start really experiencing an excitement and a mastery of our gifts and our skills, and experiencing ourselves showing up differently in the world. And we start to get excited about that. I do. Let me speak personally. I start getting excited about that when I notice myself showing up differently. There's a confidence that rises up, and I'm like, yeah, I can do this. And then I step into doing it, and it's hard. And I'm like, oh, this is harder than, well, maybe it's not the right timing. My intuition's telling me it's not the right time. Bullshit. Just because something's hard doesn't mean that it's not the right time. Make sense? So once we get to a certain level of advancement, then we need our discernment needs to up level too, so we can really call bullshit on ourselves when we're trying to pull our same old self-sabotage crap that keeps us playing small, or keeps us operating the same way we were always operating. So here's what the guides are saying. First of all, dissect the pattern. Sherry, is your pattern to rush, or is your pattern to procrastinate, or is your pattern to follow what feels good inside of the body because the body's not going to lie to you? First of all, get clear on what your pattern is. Because I love that you have adventure, and I love that you have inspiration and newness coming in your life. That's a sign of growth in our journey. And what comes along with growth is the old part of ourselves that shows back up and says, hey, are you really going to grow? Are you really going to stay in this growth pattern? And all of a sudden, we don't see that it's the same old pattern happening over and over and over. We think, oh, I'm finally starting to get out and do the things I want to do, and things were just starting to go right, and now they're crashing, or whatever the scenario is, right? We don't recognize that it's just a pattern playing out. And our job is to say, how do I normally show up in this pattern? And just hold yourself in a high level of accountability that you're not playing out the same old patterns, that you're not subconsciously bringing this old pattern into this new timeline where you want to have an adventure, and you might not need to arrange as many things as you used to need to arrange. Maybe all the arranging had to do with you feeling safe in patterns of control, which you don't need anymore. Does this make sense, Sherry? So it's all about dissecting the patterns. Procrastination was the old pattern. Okay, great. I feel like I should have just scrolled down to see if you had answered yet, Sherry, and I probably could have kept myself from going off on a long ramble there. But yeah, if procrastination is your old pattern, then invite yourself to experience without procrastination. Spot on, discernment, yes. Okay, good. Glad somebody got something out of that ramble. I felt like, Jesus, when are you going to stop rambling here, Emily? If you got some insight and some Some ahas out of that. Send some love likes hearts across your screen. Let's grab one more question here. Stuart says, do you have any information for me, please? All right. Yep, I'm going to tap in and see, Stuart, what wants to come through, and encourage you next time you come, and everybody else, next time you come and hang out here, you can ask questions like this, but hang on. As soon as I tell Stuart, well, Stuart, it's not going to be a very specific answer because it's not a very specific question, they're going to flood me with the most brilliant information Stuart's ever heard. Because they like to prove me wrong when I'm live. But I will encourage you all. The more specific that you can ask questions, the more specific that your answers are going to be. Okay. So most people who ask, do you have any information for me? There's an area where they're I really hope that she starts talking about this, X, Y, Z. Here's a cool thing about the records. Not only will they reveal intelligence and wisdom to you, but they will begin to align a different timeline for you. Okay. So let's just say that what Stuart really wanted to know was about this new job opportunity that's coming up. Okay. If Stuart were to ask specifically about the job opportunity, the records, the universe, the guides, however you want to personify the quantum energy that we're working with. But the more specific you are, the more specific the universe or the Akash or the primordial creative substance of the universe can be back with you. Does that make sense? Which, by the way, Stuart, it does feel like there's a new job coming for you. It feels like there's maybe like it feels like you're waiting to hear on the job. Now, that's how it's coming into my field. It's like there's this in-between point where you're waiting on the yes or no, and they're showing it to me like this, but it might also be something that you've created, and your yes or no is still not fully determined in the field. Cool. I'd love to know if this is resonating for you, Stuart. Let's see what else is coming in around this. Anything? It feels like about 75% of you have job stuff. Joe Fox in the house. Hi, Joe Fox. About 75% of you out here right now are feeling like there's job shift happening for you. If you feel like you're one of the people out there having the job shift, it's like there's a soul group of you out there right now. If any of you feel like that's you and you need to talk to me further about that, please send me a private message. There's literally, there's so much chatter and chaos about it out here. Time for y'all to get into some new jobs, people. Okay? Vineeta! So happy that you're here. All right, let me get back to this. See what else needs to come through around the jobs. Okay, interesting. What they're showing me is that those of you who are here currently working in a capacity as a wisdom keeper, as a healer, as a shaman, as a spiritual entrepreneur of any kind, that there is, it's like they're almost like galactic reinforcements being sent in to specifically help those of us who are here as these pillars of light, waking up the planet, bringing consciousness into the planet at this time. It's really interesting. It's like a massive behind the scenes effort coming forward right now to work specifically with light workers and healers here on the planet. they're a little overwhelming. Vineeta, I know that this, I'm just scrolling through, seeing who else here. I know this applies to a whole lot of you that are here watching right now. All right, let's just bring in the energy. What the guides are just saying is ask, 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 ask. Yeah, open to receiving the assistance. Just ask for what it is that you want. It's actually, they're like, we're here to assist you. You just have to tell us what you want us to do. Trust yourself that however the vision of how you're here to show up and expand consciousness on the planet, whatever dreams are coming into your mind right now, which by the way, since this, was it Aries new moon that we had? Holy cow, the vision, the downloads, the ideas that are coming in are ridiculously big and fun and exciting. So it's really important that we tune into those, that we give those time to breathe through us, and then just ask the guides for their assistance. Ask for them to show up and to help create whatever it is. It's got to be really playful, really childlike right now, because our adult human can get really in the way and block the assistance. It's got to be just like so super playful though. Okay. Let's see where we want to bring in that activation. It's almost like they want to bring it in through the back body. Through my awareness is being drawn to the kidneys. So I'm just going to tap on, I'll just, you can see my cool leather pants and my tattoo. Right back here, kidneys. Okay, kidney point. Nice deep breath in, exhaling. This is where we store fear in the body. The kidneys store fear, okay? And the kidneys are also like the big logs on the campfire when it comes to our chi energy, our internal life force energy. So what we're doing is, when we're doing this gentle tapping here, is we're tapping out the fear. We're releasing any area where there's somatic memory, or there's emotional memory in the tissues of the body. So anywhere where you've held fear in the body, clearing that out, and then also invigorating those. I'm going to do about 5 more, because the lactic acid's building up in my shoulders and my triceps back here. I'm about to break a sweat. Can't sweat from just tapping on the kidneys now, can we? But also what we're doing is we are increasing our vitality, our life force energy, particularly in the area of our passion and the vision of where we're here to change the planet. So let's take a deep breath. Suraj says, can portal be opened by mudra's hand gesture? Is there a hand gesture to open the Akashic Records? So interesting. I believe that yes, there is. There are lots of ways we can open the Akashic Records. But interestingly enough, Suraj, I'll invite you to go back and watch the replay. And everyone who's joined us later on in this broadcast is, yeah, there was this interesting like lotus hand breath work. And I noticed that as I was doing it on the air, you guys probably noticed this too. It probably bugs the shit out of some of you. But I'll go, it's like I'm looking up in files, downloads, pages coming in from lots of different directions. And I don't always relay through all of the pieces as they're showing themselves in my mind. But as we were breathing and the fingertips were coming together, this was creating a touch point. There was some kind of energy happening in that touch point there that I felt like was opening the Akashic Records for us. Let me know what you guys think. A mudra to open the Akash. Cool. And there was one other thing that we just did too. It was the last thing I just talked about before Suraj asked about the hand gestures. I told y'all if I don't write it down, I don't remember it. I don't remember it. Well, let's see. It was something that Vineeta pinged in my field, though. The assistance, the guidance, Vineeta, childlike play. Mudra coming in to open the Akash. Big dreams since this Aries new moon coming in. I think I know where I wanted to finish this up. Vineeta bringing in this beautiful awareness and connection to how much support and assistance we have from the Galactic Federation, from our guides here to help us right now. And I feel like let's just have a sacred time here together where we're all tuning in. Let's call in the Galactic Federation. Feel the presence of the higher forces of light. Higher meaning not stationed or ranked higher or smarter or XYZ-er than you, but in a different dimension, in a lighter dimensional frequency. Okay? Feel all of that love, that light, that support, and that wisdom coming forward for you right now. And let's just take time to collectively dream together. Whether you're dreaming right now or you're dreaming in the now moment that is the replay. Imagine all of the pings of light all over the planet projecting vision into the field, into the morphic field, the dodecahedron, the dreamscape, the waking dreamscape that we all get to share. And right now, just project what you want to experience. What would be wildly fun and amazing and blissful for you personally to experience here on the planet? Notice my breath. I'm breathing. I'm invigorating that vision with life force energy. And now allow yourself to tap into a vision for the world, of the world living in peace, harmony, abundance, freedom, connection. And just hold that vision. Send it into the dodecahedron. The Galactic Federation is here supporting this, supporting us, holding space. Good job. I feel the energy still building. I'm just going to be present with it, breathing with it until I feel it. It's like I feel the energy build up to a crescendo. And then once I feel it start to mellow down, to simmer down a little bit, I know the activation is coming to completion, but I still feel it revving up. Keep the vision of this humanity as you would like to live it and experience it in your mind. Feel it in your heart, projecting it through your third eye into the field. Good job. Right on. Great show today, everyone. Great show, great show. I've missed you all. The reason I came on today actually was because I've heard from so many of you reaching out, Emily, are you okay? We haven't seen you. And there has been huge transition really over the past several years here at the Akashic Academy, but especially over the last 6 months. And the majority of my time are spent with clients who are diving in for either extended programs, like 4-month programs, or the deep, deep dive where they're working an entire year with me. And so I've had the luxury of using my time to show up with lots of clients rather than how I used to use my time in the very beginning of this business, which felt like, like constant running and all of the pieces that it takes to create a business. And I am so happy just to share with you all that it's not only my personal dedication, it's the dedication of the guides, the mission of you all, of the planet who wants to learn this kind of intelligence, who's making a space and creating value for this kind of work. It's expanded the Akashic Academy and all of my colleagues doing this work are expanding so rapidly right now as well, because the planet is taking this seriously. It's they're showing up to receive the intelligence and to make the shifts and the changes in their life that we've known in our hearts and souls, in our dreams, in our prayers that have been possible, but we're at the place in our growth where we're learning to embody it. And team is coming on very, very quickly here at the Akashic Academy. We are working on both online and physical ground expansion, and it's just as fun as it can be. And I'm really excited that as more and more of these team members come into place and get up and running inside of the academy, it's going to free up more and more time for me to come back in to hang out with you all like this, because I love hanging out live and seeing what gets to come through in this space. Your questions are so, so important. They bring through the intelligence that the guides want you to know, or you want you to know. The guides, you, higher self, whatever, however we categorize this higher awareness, right? So thank you all for being here with me. I am super excited to be here with you more and more, again, as the team and the behind the scenes mission here grow at the academy. And we have some geniuses in place where I don't have to show up and do those jobs anymore. So I get to hang out with you, and I love it. I have a really important download that's dropped in from the Akashic Records that I might make a video later on today and share about that. It's going to be talking about world leaders, specifically women as world leaders, and would just love to ask you all, if you see that, hop on live with me, share that message out. It's going to be a really important one coming in. So if you see me live later today sharing that message, please hop on and help me share it out. All right. I love you all. I'll talk to you later.